Yo guys, Gluten-Free EDC here. I'm Brian, your gluten-sensitive representative. Today I have a really cool knife from a buddy that lent it to the channel. Thank you, you know who you are. This is the LHC-X by Brown Knives. Let's kick this off right away. We're gonna just take a gander at this beautiful, stunning material. This definitely is a showstopper. This is black and white Carboquartz for the inlay here. It's stunning. Now, Carboquartz is a material created by a company that is no longer in business, which makes this material incredibly difficult to come by as they were the only company to make it. This is a combination of carbon fiber and quartz crystal. I've talked to a few makers and it actually hurts their bits more to work with this material as there is true quartz in it. Now, I was specifically asked if I could incorporate outside lighting. So you'll notice I'm in a bit of a different location here. And yeah, the outside lighting really shows. There's a shimmer across the entire flat of this. And it's stunning. It might be one of my favorite materials I've ever had the joy of handling. It's really stunning. It's black and white. It almost seems blue and iridescent in here. Really quite something to behold, especially in person. Hopefully that's coming through for you guys. Next we can move on. So that's on both sides, you can see. Next we'll move on to the white Damascus scales. Gorgeous, gorgeous scales here. Then you have a Damascus backspacer, white Damascus pocket clip, the rear flipper, amazing detent, beautiful detent, which reveals a damasteel blade. Just a gorgeous blade, a gorgeous finish to the blade. And this is all running on Brown Knives DRB, which I believe refers to double row bearings. Could be off on that, but that is my guess because the action is insane. So I'm gonna hold it up and down. Drop my thumb out of the way. It's like a guillotine. Fortunately, it's a light enough blade. You can get out of the way. You'll see there is either Damascus or anodized hardware as well for the screws. Even the screw that's used here for the lockbar insert. Really cool to see that. So you have the knife. Gorgeous, gorgeous work in here. This is the LHC V2. And in here, I'm not sure if I can make it out, but it does say Elaine, Washington, USA, where it's made. Really cool. Something I want to point out about this knife. The backspacer actually has a bit of an indent in it. Really cool to see that, where the blade would lie. It doesn't quite go deep enough to get quite in there, but it is cool to see something like that. So yeah, this knife is just a gorgeous take on a rear flipper from Brown Knives. I think what's interesting about it is it's got fairly neutral ergonomics. The jimping is fairly lightly done in that it's not sharp, it's not deep. You feel it there. Like I said, the ergonomics are fairly neutral, pretty cool. The lockbar tension is very, very light, which I imagine is how they're achieving that type of action. The detent, like I said before, is perfect for a rear flipper. Not too stiff, not too light. but stiff enough that it's going to get a nice pop out. Can you fail it? Let's see. It'd be difficult. I'm sure someone can. I have difficulty doing so. What I also want to note is how thin the frame is. So the frame here, although there's a shallow relief cut here and that's how some of that lockbar tension is achieved, the frame itself is very thin, which helps create that light lockbar tension. You can see there's jimping on the flipper tab, which if we flip over to here is perfect for a light switch type of deployment. You can push button as well, but I think it works best with the light switch. Gorgeous knife all around, very unbelievably smooth. It feels like there's nothing in the way as it glides open and shut. Very, very cool to see action like that. It's addictive to flip this thing open and shut. All in all, this is a really, really well-made knife. You see chamfering done. It's easier to see on the white Damascus scale, but that actually does continue all along the entirety of the knife. And it meets up seamlessly here from inlay to scale. Really quite lovely how this is done. This is a beautiful knife. I don't have too much to say on it. This is wonderful materials. I think behind the edge, incredibly thin, so this would make for a fantastic slicer. I did not use this knife, nor do I intend to, and I will not be carrying it as this was lent to the channel. This type of knife, my goodness. It would be a grail for many. Thank you again to my buddy who lent it to me. Really, really gorgeous knife to be able to handle. The materials alone are gorgeous, but I think over at Brown Knives, he's really treating them right, getting these materials to shine in a way not necessarily achievable by all makers. Real quick, no blade play side to side, no blade play up or down, so that action is achieved with that light lockbar access, but solid lockup too. I'm not going to go too hard on the spine whack, as this is not my knife. I suppose I could do it into the cork, but I'm not going to. But yeah, really fantastic knife. The LHC-X can be had for much cheaper if you get, lesser, I don't want to say lesser materials, but not as rare materials. So you can get this in tons of different variants. Brown Knives no longer actually makes this model, however, so take note, you will have to get this knife off the secondary to hunt whatever variant you want. This one, of course, is not for sale, as this is my buddy's, but yeah, you can get a normal plain Jane CPM 154 blade. You can, I believe that's the steel that he was using then. Titanium, you can get full titanium, you can get micarta, carbon fiber, all sorts of different material choices. It's really cool to see the pivot. So the pivot is the Brown Knives logo. Very cool. And on the opposite side, might as well just show just how beautiful that white Damascus and the hardware are together. And the white Damascus pocket clip, all pairing quite nicely with the white and black Carboquartz again. So yeah, that's it for this guy. Just wanted to share this beautiful knife with you guys. If you have a chance to pick up an LHC-X off of the secondary, I'd highly recommend it. I've handled a good few of his knives now from Brown Knives. I've handled the LHC-X. This is my first actually. I owned a mini FSD, which was amazing, and the Cortex, which still is one of my favorite knives I've ever owned. That's an amazing knife as well. He just has it dialed in amazingly. He knows how to make a knife and get the action and lockup and detent synchronizing to be quite amazing, and he showcases his materials very nicely. He's a fantastic maker. I believe he was an aerospace engineer, actually, it's worth mentioning. So achieving these tight tolerances that he does is no surprise. That's all, guys, for today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.